Hey, so this is a very quick demo to show you how to get Liquigen over to Lightwave. So I've just loaded this blood splatter preset. You can see there it's doing its thing. And what I've done in here is I'll come to Lightwave. This is Lightwave 2025. My frame rate is 25 frames a second. So what I'm going to do is come into my simulation, and the default there will be 60, which is essentially 60 frames a second. So what I'm going to do is put 50 in there, so that's 50 frames a second, and then I'm going to, on this simulation, just grab the mesh and then export mesh. So we've got these options here. We've got image sequence, OBJ sequence, FBX and Alembic. I'm going to choose Alembic. I'm going to throw this in this directory here and let's call it splatter. In fact, no, I just select the folder. Apologies. Select that folder and I'm going to call this splatter. Because I want this at 25 frames a second, I'm just going to render every other frame on this one. I'm going to uncheck that and let's just have a look how many frames I want. So let's go for 120. That's half of 240. Okay, and then just hit export. Okay, so let's go across to Lightwave and I'm just going to hit load, import Alembic loader, and I'll just come to my splatter. It's about a gig. Load that. Yeah, okay. That's do its thing. That's good. Come in with a grid of 20 meters, so I'm just going to scale down the grid a little bit. See, there's our blood splatter. If we click through, you can see that's actually animating. Okay, and then we can obviously surface that as we want to. That's how to do the meshes. I'll quickly show you how to do the white water. Okay, so this is another demo. We've got some white water set up in this demo. I'm just going to show you how to get that out into Lightwave. So it's a very similar process. We're going to go into simulation 50, sorry. Apply, and we'll resim that. Do, and then so we want to export the mesh. We'll do the same as before. We'll just Liquigen, and we'll call this water mesh, and we want that to be, so we'll go 460, that's 230. Okay, we'll export that. Okay, that's done, and then what we're going to do is we can export mesh. Right, delete that. Okay, export particles, and this is going to be, you can just come here, main main liquid, white water. We've got a choice of what we include here. So I'm just going to go the foam, so you can render these separately. And I'm going to come in here again, select 32. Not sure about this, whether including main liquid actually works, but we'll just go white water. That's going to, and that looks about right. We'll export the main liquid. Maybe that saves us a step there. So let's try that. Export this. Okay, that's done. So let's pop over to layout now, and I'm going to do the same thing. Import Alembic loader. Okay, so let's try this white water, see what it's given us. 15 gigs, so it's fairly hefty. Okay, see what we've got. Okay, so that's loaded. Scale this down. Let's see what we've got here. That has included the water. Maybe that is just the all of the particle. So skip down to here. See what it does. Okay, so yeah, if you include the water, that is going to give you a particle for all of the fluid, which is what we don't want. So I'm going to nip back. I'm going to delete that. Nip back to Liquigen, and I am going to uncheck that. Clear scene. Export the particles. Overwrite that, and I'll get back to you. Actually, you can see here it's very, very quick when you don't include that main liquid. So we'll use the mesh that we exported earlier and add in the particle. Okay, so that's exported. Let's try one more time. Alembic loader, I'm going to load it on mesh. Water mesh. Okay. Mesh, lovely. And then I'm going to do the same again and load particles. White water, it's only 6 gig now instead of 15. Okay, interesting. Does that need to be rotated? Maybe the scale needs flipping. Let's have a look. Let's try -Z. -1. Maybe we need to just look in here. Up, vector, Y up, Z up. Right. Wrong one. Object space. Ignoring our okay, let's try and turn that off. There we go. Okay, -1. No. Literally just needs rotating. Oh. Interesting. Okay, so that looks totally different. Okay, so just looking back in Imogen, it looks like I've got two different settings for my particles and my mesh. So here, this one's got compensate frame rate, and this doesn't have an option for that. So let's turn that off and we'll try export again. Okay, let's just this scene. Export the mesh again. Okay, there we are. So yeah, that was the compensate frame rate. Uncheck that, and then when you import, everything will match up. Okay, and then you can obviously on the liquid, to get those to render, you'll want to come into instancer, add an instance generator, and then attach a mesh, a tiny sphere, and you can play with all the different settings there. But that's about it. That's how to get Liquigen into Lightwave. Hope this helps.